Okay, you should have a note sheet for 2526. If you don't have that note sheet, somebody hit pause, find the note sheet. Here we go. Starting with the definition of absolute value. Absolute value, we know because it's the bracketing symbol that we have here that comes out of, let's see if I can find my pen. That's not what I want. Okay, this is off to a great start. Better. Okay, absolute value. You've probably seen it before. The distance a number is from zero on a number line. So when we get these vertical straight lines, they're usually a little longer. What is the absolute value of 5? Absolute value. So if I look at absolute value of -4, I'm here on a number line. I talk about a distance. The distance here is 4 units from 0. So oftentimes we get people talking about you just change it to a positive, but there's a little more to it than that. In general, when we do these types of problems, yes, that's the case. The absolute value of 2. We are 2 units from 0. And then, of course, 0 is right there. When we talk about a distance, that's why we talk about it in terms of a positive value. For example, if you're driving 60 miles north and you end up at Brainerd, and then you're driving 60 miles south and you end up at, I don't know, Hutchinson, okay? They're both a distance of 60 miles. We don't denote one as positive and one as negative because we go in a different direction. All right. Oh, I got a couple more here. I didn't even know it. This is also 4 units from 0. -6 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units from 0. Evaluate the expression above for the following. So now I'm going to substitute in, I'm going to solve, okay? Very important that you do understand this example doesn't happen, but you cannot distribute into an absolute value. An absolute value is locked up, okay? So now we're just going to plug in m is 4, so I will have the absolute value of 4 plus 6 minus 14. Treat it as a grouping symbol, simplify it down. And then the absolute value of 10 is 10 units from 0 minus 14. And my answer is -4. So when I plug a +4 in there, this is what I get. When I plug a -4 in there, put it in, do some math, apply the absolute value of 2, we are 2 units from 0. And we subtract, and we get -12. So when m is -4, we get -12. Put in a 14. 14 plus 6 minus 14, 20 minus 14, 20 minus 14, and I get 6. Put in a -14. -14 plus 6. Just plugging and chugging here, huh? Plugging and chugging. And I get -8 minus 14. Absolute value of -8 is +8, right? We are 8 units from 0. And I get -6. Okay, there you go. So what I'm talking about with that distributing in, if you had 2 times the absolute value of m plus 3, you cannot distribute this in there. You have to deal with the absolute value first. So if I was going to do the 4 in there, I have to do 2 times the absolute value of 7, which is 2 times 7. So first you do the absolute value, and then you go with it, okay? Okay, big stuff here. Big stuff here. Absolute value equation. Step 1, get the absolute value by itself. To isolate, to get by itself. Step 2, you must consider both a positive and negative options. For example, this first one here, the absolute value of 17 is equal to 17. But you also have to remember the absolute value of negative 17 is equal to positive 17. So you're really looking for, I'm going to extract this thing. I'm going to go two ways with it. I'm going to go, the f plus 5 could be equal to positive 17. That's the positive one. I also have to extract this and say that f plus 5 could be equal to the negative 17. So we have to write two equations here. Notice, I do not write the absolute value after I take it apart. And now I solve the equation the same way we did yesterday. And I get f is 12. And I solve the equation. And I get f is negative 22. I get two answers, okay? And the whole reason is I have to do this one and I have to do this one. Both of those absolute values lead me to positive 17. You gotta check your work. You gotta check your work. Let's see if I can find a different color here and change it up. Let's see, pen color. Let's go with blue. Yes, indeed. So now I'm going to check the absolute value of, well, f is 12 plus 5. That's 17. The absolute value of 17 is 17. And now I do the other one. The absolute value of negative 22 plus 5. That's the absolute value of negative 17, which is 17. So these absolute values, you got to have two of them. Okay? Next one. Isolate the absolute value first. You cannot multiply inside there. I mentioned that a minute ago. So I'm going to solve for the absolute value of x the same way we always do solving for a variable. Here we go. Now we got to extract this out. I must consider the positive and the negative options. X is positive 2/3. This thing in here could be negative 2/3. So there was no extra work there. There's two answers. Check them both. 2/3. Apply the absolute value. 3 times 2/3 is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. Negative 2/3. Apply the absolute value. 2/3 times 3, positive 2 plus 5 is 7. We are good. Okay? Two answers. Let's keep going. Solve and check. Okay. Now, you gotta be aware the absolute value is equal to a negative. When is an absolute value equal to a negative? Never. This is no solution. But I want to show you what happens if you don't catch this right away. If you're a robot and you just say, I have to make it the just like it, and I have to change the sign to positive, and I solve, and I'm a good little robot because I solve problems, and I get B is negative 2, and I get B is 4, and I circle them, and I lose points on my test because I didn't check my work. I'm going to find a different pen color again, just to change it up, just to make sure we're alive out there. Here we go. What about, I don't think these ones, magenta. Oh, Gracie would love this one. Okay, I'm going to do absolute value of negative 2 minus 1. Absolute value of negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Is 3 equal to negative 3? No! Throw it out. Put the 4 in. This is if I didn't recognize right away what was going on. Equals negative 3. The absolute value of 3 is equal to negative 3. What? Is the absolute value of 3 equal to negative 3? No! That's 3 is not equal to negative 3. Doesn't work. So that gets thrown out too. So even if you didn't recognize this at the beginning, remember this is the symbol for no solution. You can also write no solution. Or you could say to yourself, you just can't do it, sir. You just can't do it. Okay, so that's when it's equal to a negative. Come over here. I'm already isolated. 1, isolate. It's isolated. To isolate, to get by oneself. 2, split into the positive and the negative. 3, solve and check. Those are your steps. Can you do it? Can you dig it? X minus 14 is 12. X minus 14 is negative 12. Remember, this in here could be positive 12, take the absolute value. This in here could be negative 12, take the absolute value, and either one will get her done. It'll get her done. And I add 14, X is 26. And I add, and I add, and I'm a good little math worker. And I get the big deuce, and that magenta's making me ill. Let's go back to blue. I like blue. Saber blue, baby. Pep Fest. Let's go. Plug it in. Absolute value of 26 minus 14. Absolute value of 12 is equal to 12. Yep. Absolute value of 2 minus 14. Oh, that's a straight line. I almost made my first mistake of the year. Negative 12 is 12. Absolute value of negative 12 is 12. Yep. And we're good. We're doing great. Ratios, next thing. So I think that absolute value was 2.5. Now we're going to do 2.6. Ratios, comparison of two numbers by division. Sometimes it's written with the word 2. 2. The ratio of, let's see, in my Algebra 2 class, the ratio of sophomores to juniors is 8 to 21. There are 8 sophomores and 21 juniors. You could also write that as with a colon, 8 to 21. You can also write it as a fraction, 8 to 21. It all says the same thing. A proportion. How do you solve a proportion? You solve a proportion by doing crisscross applesauce, right? So if A over B equals C over D, I think that's what it means, what we're going to do here. We are going to crisscross applesauce. Remember, C times B equals A times D. And that's something about the means and the extremes. I prefer to refer to it as cross multiplication. It's too late to cross multiply. It's not too late to cross multiply. We are good. We are good. Cross multiply to determine if the fractions are equal. If they are equal, then this 20 would equal this 30. Not equal. No. Next one, this 30 would equal this 30. Yes. And you know 1/6 is equal to 5/30. Boom. Cross multiply, a fast way to solve. Solving proportions, some of the most fun you can have with fractions ever. Holy cow, we got more. 1.8 equals, well, what is 0.2 times 0.9? I'm concerned about that one. I have concerns. Do you have concerns? 0.2 times 0.9. I grabbed my calculator. Whoa, I got 0.18. These suckers were trying to trick us. No! All right. So, you guys, you get all that one? Sometimes I worry about going too fast, that if you're watching it as a class, you can't pause it really. You could, but I digress. Okay, now we're going to solve. Whoa, I got 3 problems here. Okay, I need to solve for x. So we're going to go basic here. We're going to go, I always start with the one that you can start with either way, the criss or the cross. Crisscross applesauce. 5x equals, I always start with the variable one if there's only one variable, so that I can see exactly that, hey, let's change colors just for effect. Great idea. I divide by 5 and divide by 5. X is 6. And check your work. Is 6 over 10 equal to 3 over 5? Yep. Maybe you knew that one before you started, but we're good little soldiers. We show our work. Over here, I would start like this. 7 times x minus 2 equals 14 times 2. 14 times 2 is 28. You could do this two ways. You could distribute and solve for x. That is fine. This is straight multiplication, which means I could just divide. And some of you are sitting there like, can I just do 14 times 2 divided by 7 is equal to x minus 2? That's exactly what I did. And I get x equals 4. I go plus 2, x equals 6. Whoa, why did I do that? It's 6. I know it's 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 over 14 equals 2 over 7. You can check your work. Let's change the color again because I'm getting bored with these colors. Black. If I was doing this problem, I would do this first. 8 times x plus 4 equals 15. Oh, this sucker is nasty. I'm not going to divide because I would have a fraction over there. So let's wait till the end to have our nastiness show up. 8x equals 32. Whoa, that's not right. I need an eraser. Oh, I can't make that work. Eraser. It's not an equal sign. Almost made my first mistake of the year. Good. Whoa. Oh, now I erased it all. How do I undo that? Oh my gosh. I don't know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing. Undo. Where's the undo button? Hidden, automatic, eraser, light, pen. All I wanted was a pen. Let's start this one again. Okay. Let's pretend I didn't make any mistakes. 8 times x plus 4 equals 15. I could divide right away, but that's a nasty deal. I'm going to distribute. 8x plus 32 equals 15. Now I'm going to solve for x. Minus 32 minus 32. We're doing great work here. You got to keep up the great work. And I get negative 17. And the reason I distributed, so I didn't have to deal with fractions earlier, x is negative 17 over 8, which is slightly awkward, okay? So now I would grab my calculator and do negative 17 over 8 times 8, or I could do it as a fraction if you want. You could do divided by 5, and then I could do 3, negative 17 over 8 plus 4. Okay, I get 1.875. Divide by 5. I get 0.375. What is 3 divided by 8? 0.375. So if you plug this in here, don't forget to add the 4. I almost did. Whoops! First mistake of the year. All right. There we go. Keep going. Again, I would do anything for solving for n. Whoa. 8 times n minus 1 equals 36. Again, you could divide by 8 right away. That doesn't divide evenly. If it doesn't divide evenly, I kind of prefer to work it this way. No diggity. And I go 8n equals 44. Divide by 8, divide by 8. I believe if I plug that into my calculator, I get, well, it must be 5 and 5/8, which is 5.625. You could leave it as 44 over 8. You could turn it into 22 over 4, which is 11 over 2. Wait a sec. 11 over what? Did I divide that right? 44 divided by 8. Oh my gosh, I made the first mistake of the year. It's 5.5. Holy cow. I could edit the video, but it's just not worth it. You can all just say that was my first mistake of the year, and I'll deny it. Okay, next, rate. Rate, the ratio of two measurements having different units of measure. Where do we see this? It's $10.99 per 10 songs. Taylor Swift would be worth it. Okay, 320 miles per 20 gallons of gas. So you can see our different rates, different units of measurement. So we're talking meters per second, feet per mile, miles per hour. You know, you've worked with these your whole life. Miles per gallon, okay? The big trucks outside, they don't get very good MPG, right? So we're making a measurement. So you've done this before. And we're talking about unit. We're always talking about a unit rate. We're talking about 1 unit. So up here, I would do when we compare to one of the other items. So 19.99 divided by 10 songs is $1.99, essentially $1.99.9, I guess, but let's just go $1.99 per one song, right? So it's price per song is $1.99. 320 gallons per 20 miles, idiot, per 20 gallons. What is 320 divided by 20? That's 16 miles per gallon. Okay, that's what you're getting per gallon. So we're comparing it to one of another item. In the past 2 years, a retailer has whoa, what happened there? Okay, I got it from current slide. In the past 2 years, a retailer has opened a shop up, and it says there's 232 stores. If the growth rate remains constant, how many stores will they open in 3 years? There's 4 different ways you can do this. 232 stores in 2 years. And then I want to know how many for 3 years. So we can do it as a proportion. Years across from years, stores across from stores. Okay? Can we cross multiply? You're darn right we can. 232. This is one way to do it, not the only way to do it. 232 times 3. 232 times 3 is 696. The school district I went to as a child was school district 696. Coincidence? I think so. And now I will divide that by 2. And I will get 348 stores. Okay? Over 3 years. In 3 years. Right? Another way to do it. 232 stores, 2 years. Find the unit rate. 232 divided by 2, 116 stores per year. That's 1 year. And I want to know in 3. Take your 116 times 3. Oh, 348. Coincidence? Stores in 3 years. I think not. Homework. Worksheet 2526. If you're watching this in 2022, I believe your 2-1 through 2-4 is also due on Monday. So you got finish up 2-1 through 2-4, do your worksheet for 2526, and have a great day.